Hello viewers, great to meet you after a long time. Today I'm going to be talking about my simple Zoom 5-step model. I am your English teacher R.Manoch. Right, so you can see a timeline here. What is this? Timeline talks about. So this timeline is about Zoom class. This shows how a 40 minutes Zoom class should be taken in my point of view. If you take a 40-minute Zoom class in this 5-step model, I can guarantee 100% success in your Zoom class. So if you look here, you can see this 40 minutes is categorized into 5 parts. First 5 minutes, then 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5. Okay, so what you do in the first 5 minutes of the Zoom class is really important. So what should you do in the first 5 minutes of the Zoom class? It's really simple. What should you do first? First, you have to greet the students, isn't it? So you have to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon. So greet your students. Second thing, remind them what they have studied in the past lesson, right? So you should remind the students what you taught in your previous lesson. You shouldn't ask the students, what did we study? No, not like that. You have to remind them what did we study. Okay, then talk about what you are going to cover in today's session, right? So you should do 3 things in first 5 minutes. First, greet your students. Second, remind what you taught in the last session and tell them what they are going to study today. Simple, isn't it? Right. Then, during the next 15 minutes, you can teach what you are going to teach. So, when you teach, you can play a video lesson in the middle, but that video lesson shouldn't be more than 7 minutes. Any videos 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, any demo video you can play in the middle of this time, right? So doesn't matter when you play. During this 15 minutes time, you can play anywhere you want. Maybe you start with the video lesson and talk, or you talk, play the video lesson, then talk, doesn't matter. Okay, so you play a video lesson and explain in the board. So don't spend too much time explaining on the board, because when you explain on the board, you don't show your eyes to your students, isn't it? So you write like this, right? So when you write like this, you miss the eye contact with the students, which is not good in Zoom classes. So you had better reduce the time you write on board. I would recommend 1 or 2 minutes. So whenever you have to write and explain, write on the whiteboard and explain. Otherwise, use a slide. Share your screen and talk with the students, right? So you can share the screen and talk with the students. It's really simple, right? So you can share PowerPoint presentations, you can share photos, you can share even online links, website links also you can share and talk. So talking about writing on whiteboard, you can take an A4 sheet, use 4 or 5 color pens and prepare your board. So when you use a A4 sheet photo, then that sheet itself becomes the whiteboard. In Zoom class, it's a great advantage. You can take 5 A4 sheets and fill it with color pens, what you are going to teach. Then when you share it, that A4 sheet suddenly becomes a whiteboard. So when you write on whiteboard, you waste time. So in Zoom classes, reduce the time you write on whiteboard and use photos or slides. Okay, so that's what you should do in this 15 minutes. So let me remind what you should do. Play a video, talk about the subject, teach them the lesson, share slides or photos. Okay, so once you have talked about the subject matter, then during the next 10 minutes, you should give them an exercise. Again, giving exercise, don't write exercise on the board. It will take a lot of time. So if you are writing an exercise on board, it will take 10 minutes. But you have written that already in an A4 sheet and share it just within a flick of a second. You can give the exercise to the students, so you can save time. Okay, so use this idea. Simple, right? Any Android phone with more than 12 MP camera quality, take a professional photo and share it. So if you are going to give 2 exercises, write it on the A4 sheet, take it as a photo and share it. You can save time. Okay, so share your exercise with the students, give them time to do the exercises. So it's a good time for you to relax as well, because during Zoom classes you have to keep on talking. So when you follow this model, when you give an exercise here, you will have 5 or 7 minutes to relax. Okay, so once the students have done the exercises, give them the answers. So don't give more or big exercises. Give them a small exercise and wait them to be done, and then just give the answers, right? So once this step 3 also done, then during this step 4, what you do is you give 5 simple questions on what you have taught and ask them to send the answer in chat. Because when you ask the students to tell the answer, what happens is like everybody shouts. So when everybody shouts in Zoom classes, it's a real mess. So you can ask them to send the answer during chat. So suppose you are teaching for 100 students and you ask them to give the answers. If all 100 students send you the answer, that means they are listening to you. So this is a real way to understand whether they are listening to you or they are sleeping, right? So you just give 3 or 5 simple questions and ask them to send the answer in chat. And also you can do one more thing. What you do is you just call the students by name and ask them to answer. So you can say like, Mr. Daniel, please answer this question. Miss Kate, please answer this question. You can name the students and ask them to answer. So one of the students will unmute the microphone and answer, right? Then during the last part of the step 5, during the last part of the session, what you should do is you should give them a production activity. It can be a video lesson they can prepare. So you can ask the students to prepare a demo video on what they have studied and send you back. For example, if you taught a poem, you can ask them to recite the poem and send you back. Take a video and send you back. If you taught them a practical in science, you can ask them to do that practical and video it and send it back. So it's a production activity. If you teach a poster, you can ask the students to prepare a poster and send it back, right? It's really simple. So take a look of my simple 5-step model of Zoom classes. It's really simple, right? So if you take, it's really simple, my simple 5-step model of Zoom classes. All right, so let me remind you what I have talked about. First 5 minutes, you talk about what you taught in the last lesson. Read them, remind what you taught in the last lesson, and tell them what they are going to study. Next 15 minutes, what you do is you just ask them to, you just teach what you are going to teach, play a video, and explain the lesson, share the screens. Then next 10 minutes, you give exercises to them, right? Then give 3 or 5 simple questions and then give a production activity. So this model is very effective to me. Hope it will be effective. Try it once and see how it goes. And if you are successful, let me know. I am sure you would be successful in this, right? So I will see you in another episode with another useful idea like this. Until then, have a nice day. Bye-bye. But don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.